Hey guys, how's it going and welcome back for another Total War video with the Terminator. I've been getting a lot of requests recently for a graphics guide on a Total War Saga Troy given my past guides on other Total War games, and after 2 weeks of tweaking settings and perfecting my reshade settings, I'm finally ready to release this guide. So in this video, I'll be running through the best performance settings on Troy and both my reshade presets for the historical mode and the Mythos mode to help you enjoy the game as much as possible. Let's get started. So the first thing we need to look at is optimizing your PC. Absolutely make sure all your drivers are fully updated, especially your GPU, as not doing so may cause crash issues here and there. Make sure you've done your best to close down any background processes that may slow down your PC. I'm talking about Windows Game Bar here or internet browsers, etc. And if you can, play from an SSD, guys. I'll say it time and time again, but solid state drives are miles ahead of HDDs from a performance and a load time perspective, especially for Total War games, so I highly recommend it. Next, I want you to go into your NVIDIA control panel and make sure Troy is added as a program to customize. Then all I want you to do here is make sure the preferred graphics processor is set to your main GPU. Don't worry about anything else here as the game is already pretty optimized from a GPU settings perspective. If you're experiencing any stuttering here or there or you're suffering from lags, then I'd also recommend getting Intelligent Standby List Cleaner. This program essentially monitors your memory standby list and fixes memory leaking, giving your game the most memory possible. It's a real help with stuttering in games like Rome 2 and Attila, so it could really help with Troy as well. Alright, with all that, you should be set up from a PC side to make the most of the game. Next, we want to take a closer look at the game settings. The first thing to mention here is Troy is already a well-optimized game, one of the best from all Total Wars, and it uses the Warhammer engine, so it already looks pretty good. But if you do want as much FPS as possible while retaining its good looks, then I'd recommend you make the following changes. Lower grass, shadows, water, and fog detail to high, turn off SSAO, and turn AA to either 2x or 4x. Grass, shadows, and water are known to eat up a lot of FPS, so lowering these settings will make a big difference, as will turning AA down to 2x or 4x, which should give you roughly 15 to 25 FPS alone. If you didn't already know, most Total War games have a massive body of water under the campaign map, so lowering water alone will give you a big boost as well. Everything else doesn't affect performance too much, so feel free to keep things on Ultra if your rig can handle it. So with all that done, let's have a look at Reshade. Reshade is a graphics enhancement program that gives you the tools you need to play around with any visual aspect of the game. I mainly use it for shading, contrast, sharpness, and color saturation, so that's what we're going to use today. So we need to install it first, and to do that you need to go on the website, which again you can find in the video description below, and scroll down to the bottom of the home page until you see that download button and click that. Once the program is downloaded, you need to run the Reshade setup program and select a game you want to use the application for. So go in there and select Troy. Then select DirectX 11 here. This will take you to a screen with lots of unchecked boxes as seen now. You want to check all of those and hit OK. With that, Reshade will download all the files you've checked off, giving you all the tools available to play around with those in-game graphics. Now all we need to do is go into the game and start playing around with these settings. You can absolutely make your own preset if you want. I'd recommend using curves, blooming HDR, tone map, and Technicolor for things like brightness, contrast, color saturation, and tweaking of specific color tones and hues. And Luma Sharpen, MXAO, Unsharp, Dehaze, Delc Sharpen, and Clarity for all the image sharpening and enhancement of shadows in game. But if you don't want to do it yourself, then I recommend you download my Reshade presets, which you can find in the video description below. There's one specifically for the Mythos mode and one for the other mode, so you can switch between presets easily depending on which campaign you're playing. Two things to remember, guys, is you have to download the files as a text file and put them in your Troy folder under Steam Common Apps. That's where Reshade is installed. And while in-game, you need to press the home button on your keyboard to access Reshade. So starting with the Mythos preset, I wanted to make the game A, look a lot more detailed and realistic, and B, make the game look a bit more mythological, and these are the results. A brilliant campaign map with a lot less blur while enhancing details in every way possible. I also played around with the colors to make the sky and the water look more vibrant, as I wasn't quite happy with how vanilla looked, so hopefully you agree it looks a lot more mythological now. Buildings and cliffs look a lot more detailed, trees look sharper, terrain looks more defined, and overall it just looks a lot more polished compared to before. Battles in Mythos look a lot better now as well, with trees that look a lot more realistic and units that have so much more detail compared to before. And then there's the historical mode, which is where the other preset is focused on. With these settings, I was aiming for a more realistic look while slightly changing color tones here and there. So same level of detail as the Mythos preset, but without the massive color vibrancy. You'll notice the water looks more realistic and the sky a bit more like aged pottery. The historical mode looks equally as fantastic in land battles as well, where water and terrain looks a lot more pronounced, there's more color and realism, there is a nice level of ambient occlusion to make the atmosphere a bit more cinematic, and I mean, look at those units, guys. With the Reshade settings, the game just looks so much better compared to vanilla. So there you have it. Troy plays a lot better now and looks a lot more pleasing to the eye. With these Reshade settings enabled, you should hopefully enjoy the game a lot more. As I said, guys, you can have a play around with these settings or with the brightness and gamma in game to get what you want, but my recommendation would be to stick to this. And that's it for today, guys. Hope you enjoyed the video and found it helpful. If you did, give it a like and drop any thoughts or questions in the comment section below. And if there's anything you're confused by or you need some help on, just drop a comment. I'm usually really responsive. Subscribe for more Total War content, gameplay, and news. And thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you next time.